Hey, Feds. I'm Angela Kutak. I'm one of the ops team members, and I am so glad to be in a room of my people tonight. How are we feeling? Okay, y'all are all lying. It's awful. It's terrible. What in the heck? No, we've got this, you guys. I just wanted to say it feels so good to be with my people, to feel supported, to have this community, and I am telling you, thank you so much. I look forward to it, and I hope you guys do too. I am going to get right to it. We'll kind of do some. Yeah. Yes. I see a green light on it. Is it okay? Oh, okay. We are going to have Kendall, the TDP chair, Kendall Scudder. He is our first Fed, our very first Fed. And some of you guys don't know about that. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But he is our first Fed, the reason we are here for many reasons. And we are going to hand it over to him right now. Thank you so much, Kendall, for being here. We have seen you out there rocking it, and we are so proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Feds. How are you? So great to be back home. For those of you who don't know, I'm Kendall Scudder. I was elected chairman of the Texas Democratic Party back at the end of March. Since then, I have done events in 68 different counties around Texas. And it is just so wonderful to get to do one 5 minutes from my house. Let me tell you, my wife thanks you. So here's the thing, y'all. When we booked this, I was like, surely I'm going to have all kinds of new redistricting information for you. Because we thought that by the end of October, we would have had feedback from the courts. We haven't had it yet. It means a couple of different things. I'm just going to cover that, and then I'm going to have to get on to some different topics. What it means is a couple of things. Either it means that there's some really exciting stuff coming down the pike that could be very good for us. It could also mean that they're basically resigning themselves. The reason that we're in such a tough spot with it is because filing for public office opens up on Saturday. Okay. So I am, for those who aren't familiar, the chairman of the Texas Democratic Party. Texas is different because in Texas, the chairs of our party actually run the primary. In other states, they don't do that. The Secretary of State will run it. But I'm the chief primary administrator for the state of Texas. And so I have been kind of operating assuming that these maps might get thrown out. But we have filing that's opening up on Saturday, and people will have to file under the existing maps as they stand. And so unless something happens between now and Saturday, when people are filing all their applications to be on the ballot, they will be filing under the existing, these new maps that have come through. These terrible maps. I don't know that I need to rehash how terrible these maps are to this particular crowd. I mean, how long did we fight to make sure that East Dallas wasn't pulled out into East Texas so that we had our voting population diluted? We finally got an incredible congressperson in Congresswoman Julie Johnson. But the funny thing about that is that when you're really effective, suddenly the Republicans step in to try to make sure that your effective members of Congress aren't able to continue serving. I have a feeling that even if these maps stay in effect, we haven't seen the last of Julie Johnson. But I'm still sitting here with my fingers crossed, hoping that sometime between now and Saturday, a judge tells me that we're filing candidates under the last map. Couple of really exciting things happening at the Texas Democratic Party. Funny thing about electing one of only 2 millennials in the country to lead a major party. We suddenly start to rethink the way that the state party is operating. Because I don't think that anybody is sitting at home right now thinking, man, the Texas Democratic Party would just keep going the course. We would be heading towards the right direction. So that's what we're doing. We're not afraid to rethink the way that this party is operating from the ground up, because locking a bunch of consultants in a room in Austin and expecting them to buy our way out of this problem is never going to solve it. When our party sees its best results, it is when we are a people-powered movement, focused on people. This party does not belong to the political class. It does not belong to the consultants. It does not belong to the well-connected. This party belongs to you. So we are running a 254 county strategy in Texas. That's why I'm constantly on the road. And I am really excited because I am on a mission. I'm on a mission. And that mission is that we are going to file a Democrat in every federal and state office in the state of Texas this year. Because, which, by the way, it's an ambitious goal. It's never happened. But we're going to shoot for the moon. The reason we're going to do that is because Democrats will do better when we have more players on the field. We can't look at areas that haven't performed well and say that we have to write them off. That is not a pathway to success. We have to go into communities even when it is tough and have tough conversations. So that's why I'm really proud to tell you, if you hadn't already heard, we're opening up 4 additional Texas Democratic Party offices in Texas. Because Austin is just not the center of the universe. So we're going to keep an office in Austin, but we're also going to open an office in Houston. And we're going to open an office in Amarillo. And we're going to open an office in Eagle Pass. And we're going to open an office right here in Dallas. Because it is important that we're sending a message that as a party, we're showing up. People haven't felt that we have shown up in their communities. They haven't felt like we've talked about the things that are important to them. And I think that as a party, if we're ever going to win back the 1.1 million Democrats that voted in 2020 and chose to stay home in 2024, it involves us looking in the mirror, not explaining to those people why they're wrong, not explaining to those people why they should have shown up and voted. It is not their fault. It is our fault. It's called accountability. And we have to look in a mirror and come to terms. Why did those people feel that we weren't worth showing up and voting for? Well, we don't have to guess. We put them in focus groups. We know what they think. They say that they're sick and tired of a Democratic Party that negotiates away the things that are important to them. They're sick and tired of a Democratic Party that doesn't stand up and fight for them. My mama, when I was a little kid, running around East Texas, the accent was even worse. I heard Smiley Democrat kid, SDK. I asked my mama, I was like, I hear everybody talking about this Democrat-Republican stuff. What is that? She said, well, Democrats are for the little people, Republicans are for corporations. We're Democrats. That was a teenage mother in East Texas who didn't vote, but she knew who was on her side and who wasn't, not because there were people in Austin telling her, not because there were people in D.C. telling her, but because Democrats earned her support. For years of standing on the side of working class people. My granddaddy was born alone into a wash bucket with nobody in the room but his mama, on a farm that only had electricity and clean water because of Franklin Roosevelt, the New Deal, and the Democratic Party. He walked to school on cattle pads, alternating the days he would go with his brothers because they shared a single pair of boots. Schools that were mandated for the very first time by Democrats, with Republicans kicking and screaming and calling it socialism every step of the way. He became the first person in our family that could read or write. And when the droughts hit East Texas in 1959, my family lost everything. We depended on programs of the Great Society like Medicare and Medicaid, expansions to Social Security, programs that reduced poverty in this country by 75%. Big, bold, progressive ideas that change lives for working class people. That is what our party is supposed to be about. So candidates that are in this room, I better not hear you on the campaign trail this year talking about how we're going to protect Social Security. We're Democrats. We're going to fight to expand Social Security. I better not hear you talking about how you should be able to see a doctor when you're sick. You should be able to see a doctor before you get sick. You shouldn't be on the trail talking about making sure that we're not boarding up doors to public schools. We should be making sure that we have the best funded public schools in the world, the way we did the last time Democrats ran this state. Big, bold, progressive ideas that change lives for working class people. That's how we dig ourselves out of this mess. Republicans seem to understand that if they keep their base happy, they win elections. But we have traded ours off in exchange for a couple of votes in the middle. It has not been successful. And it is my position that the state party should change the way that we're operating. That is the path forward. And who knows? Maybe we'll have success, maybe we won't. But the worst case scenario is if we win some elections last year, well, we were going to do it anyways. We might as well have tried something different. We know what those people who stayed home need in order to turn out to vote. And that is a party that stands for something, not just against something. These maps, they suck. But no one is showing up to vote because we explain the intricacies of redistricting and gerrymandering reform to them. They're showing up to vote because we are presenting them with ideas to make their lives better. And as a party, we have got to get back on that track. We cannot be a party of patriotic Americans who love this country and are simply fighting to hold it together. That loses sight of the idea that those institutions have failed working class people. We have to be a party that's willing to come back to the table with big reforms that will allow people to reassess who we are. Our popularity is in the shitter. Republicans' popularity is in the shitter. People do not like either party because neither of them has been actively and boldly trying to improve their lives. And we have an obligation to meet this moment. And I believe that you in this room are ready to do that. I'm going to pivot a little bit back to redistricting because I promised I'd do some of it, but I just don't have any new news. Let's say that these maps stand as they do. Well, is it bad? Of course it is bad. They tried to take away 5 seats from Democrats, but also it will take a black Texan 5 votes to equate the voting power of 1 white Texan. It will take a Hispanic Texan 3 votes to equate the voting power of 1 white Texan. It's terrible. However, if we're looking at these maps, there's something that could be a little exciting about it. And it's that it is going to force Democrats to campaign places that they typically wouldn't have. It means that a district that runs now from North Dallas all the way out to Upshur County and Gilmer, those people in Gilmer had not heard the Democratic message that is often being relayed in North Dallas. And you looked at Travis County's map, it's outrageous. The west side of the map goes out to Polk County, East Texas. The east side of the map goes out to Odessa Midland, out in West Texas. It's a really weird way they drew it. But all of those districts are places that we are going to fight and we are going to compete in, which means that we will be bringing our message all across the state in these new districts. And I think that could be really beneficial to our top of ticket. I think it could be really good for us to have well-funded, motivated members of Congress campaigning in some of these areas. We can sit around or we can mope. We can kick ourselves. We can feel like we got kicked in the teeth. But at some point, we got to just put our boots on and move forward. And if that's what happens with these maps and they're sitting where they are, well, we're on a mission to make sure that they don't steal 5 districts from us. It's not sitting back and accepting it as if it is inevitable. Previous elections don't vote. Polls don't vote. You do. You do. And we are the second lowest vote turnout state in America. If you take the precincts in Texas, I hear that straight a nerve, so I'm going to give you another stat. If you take the precincts in Texas, 9,000 of them, you sort them by voter turnout. There were precincts in the 2024 presidential election that had less than a 13% turnout. So understand when I am telling you about having a progressive party, it is not with some ignorance that I don't understand that there are some people who won't like it. It's with understanding that the majority of Texans just don't vote and that we have an obligation to bring those people into a new political system. The feds get that. And y'all have been doing such a phenomenal job. I wish that we could just clone y'all across the state. I'm going to try to replicate the Fed's method everywhere where I'm allowed to do it. But understand that it is the grassroots work of organizations like this that are going to end up saving this republic. Full stop. Yeah. Full stop. I apologize that I just am not coming here with big redistricting news. I'm sorry? Happy to be here. I genuinely thought that whenever I came here, we were going to have results by the end of October. That's what everybody had thought. However, I will tell you that regardless, what? Oh, congratulations, Governor Spamberger. Great work. Do we know New Jersey yet?
She's watching it like a hawk.
Okay, we're working through it. I see your hands raised. What's going on?
I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
Some of the news media outlets said that because we lost those 5, if we lose those 5 seats, that go to solid red, that they created some like seats.
Not all of those districts are solid. If you look at those maps based on the 2024 numbers, political numbers, we will lose 5 seats. If you look at those races based on 2018 numbers, we will gain 1 seat. So you have done this before, feds. Like this isn't something you never done. But you know how we did it? It wasn't sitting around and bitching and moaning about it. And I know that sometimes I come across as a guy who grew up in a barn because I just did. But it's just like, we can either sit around and complain about it or we can try to fix it and make it better. And that's what I think we should do. Channel your inner 2018. And if you do that, we'll gain a seat. I will tell you, I do want to kind of brag about something because I'm very excited about it, is that tonight we're also waiting for the results of Prop 50 in California. Things like Prop 50 don't just happen. Texas Democrats made that happen. I'm proud to be the chairman that made the first call to Gavin Newsom's team. I'm proud to be the chairman who took the first meeting with Governor Pritzker to arrange the quorum break. When you have a Democratic Party that stands up and fights back, we accomplish incredible things. That's what we just have to channel in 2018 or 2028. Every election, and I know your hand's up, Alex, I'm going to get to you. But every election, we sit around and say, well, this is the most important election of our lifetime. And I'm just going to tell you, this is not the most important election of your lifetime. The most important election of your lifetime was 2016, and we fucked it up. Okay? This is the second most important election in your lifetime. And we have to channel how upset we were in 2016 when we messed up the first election, most important election of our lifetime, to make sure that we don't have this situation again. And I love your Zoran shirt. What's going on? I saw your hand was up. What's going on?
How do you all think that Governor Scudder?
Oh, cute. Thank you. I got the change running from my pickup to this party, and I'm trying to dig it out of a ditch. That's the priority. I did. I shelter cash hired. It is the honor of my life to have an opportunity to serve a party that has literally given my family every opportunity that we have had. And understand that we at the state party are getting out of bed every single day, slogging right alongside you. Because I'm a firm believer that you, the grassroots of our party, deserves a state party that works as hard as you do. And know that every day that we're fighting, whether it is here, whether it's in the Valley, whether it's in West Texas or East Texas or Central Texas, that we are all on a team, moving in the same direction with the goal of trying to win elections. I do not care. I am a progressive, but I do not care what branch of the party, what wing of the party you come from. For the next year, we are all in the Democratic wing of the Democratic Party, moving in the same direction with a goal of winning elections. When we do that, the people who have been counting on our success for their livelihoods, for their safety, those people will have people that they can count on in their governmental structures, unlike they do right now. It is all hands on deck, leaving nothing on the table, showing up everywhere. And your job between now and March is to give me good Democratic nominees so I can do this. So please make sure that you're working over the next few months for whoever you want. I'm Switzerland. As the guy who administrates the primary, I'm not allowed to have opinions, okay? I do, but I don't. I'm just counting on you to give me good nominees so we can make this happen. So thank you, Feds, for allowing me to be here today. Thank you for all of the hard work that you're doing. And I'll be here on a Sunday one day to go hang out with you guys, Beth, but I haven't. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks, Feds. I've heard. So. Am I kicking it? Okay. Can I brag about you for just a second? I've told this story to you before. I don't know if I've told it to my closest pals out here. When I ran for Senate in 2018, I was just this huge long shot, okay? I knew it was just not a thing that was going to happen. But we were taking one for the team, and we were trying to make sure that everybody up and down the ballot was being benefited by high-quality candidates. And a lot of people wrote me off. I was a 26-year-old that was, from East Texas trying to get this knocked out. Wasn't getting a lot of help from anyone. I heard a rumor that a poll had come back that had me in the margin of error of winning in the most conservative Senate district in Texas. And I couldn't get anyone to pay attention and care, really, except for the Feds. Except for the Feds. Certainly the Feds. I reached out to a lady that was running for the state house for the very first time that I had not had an opportunity to meet. And I was told that Julie Johnson, you're going to love her. Like I was raised by lesbians and, Julie and Dr. Everybody kept saying, have you met Julie? Have you met Julie? I was like, no, we've not met. She's all the way up in Carrollton. And if you live in East Dallas, that's Oklahoma. No. I end up reaching out to Julie. One of the only people in the state of Texas, whenever I needed help, that showed up and did everything she could, not because she felt that my district was particularly winnable, but because she knew how important it was for us to be on a team and work together. So when she was fighting to flip a seat blue for the very first time in God knows how long, she also took time out of her life to help a kid from East Texas that was fighting the biggest jackass in the Senate. And Julie will always hold a huge place in my heart because of how much of a team player she is, because she always has her eye on the ball, and she knows the goal that we are all on a team, moving in the same direction, trying to win elections. And so my friend, who's now a congresswoman, that's weird, Congresswoman Julie Johnson. Go get her.
Isn't Kendall amazing? I gotta say, brother, your 68 county tour has lit you up.
Yes. Yes.
You can really feel it, right?
Yes.
All that practice everywhere.
Yes.
It's so great. Yeah, when Kendall and I were first running, it's hard. I can't tell you how hard it is to put your name on the ballot and to run for office. It's one of the hardest things you can do. And when we were doing it the first time, not knowing anything, I think I wrote you your first check. And, just because he's like, nobody will send me any money. I said, I will. And, we got to help each other. And we did a lot that cycle. It was a lot of fun. And look at us now. You're chair of the TDP, and I'm a member of fucking Congress. I mean, can you believe it? Look at where we come. So it's so great to be with you all, Feds. See, the thing is this is one of the perks of the Republicans not working in Congress right now, is that normally I'm in Washington the first Tuesday of every month. I'm never available. And so when I realized that they were going to cancel this week again, I texted, I said, hey, I can come. Can I come? So it's so great to be with you all in this packed house and everything. And, so I was going to talk about a few things. I was going to take a bunch of questions. So if you have something you want to ask, get yourself thoughtful on that. Quick, tight question. So let's just talk about, I'm just going to say one thing about redistricting. Because people are always wondering, what am I going to do? Because this seat, Texas 32, has been all up in the news. It comes up to me, girl, is it going to be okay? I'm like, it's going to be okay. So the lawyers are telling us that they're feeling very confident that the court is going to throw these maps out, that the trial went really, really well. And if that is the case, I will be refiling in 32. You're going to see members of Congress whose districts have changed, but their number is the same, are going to go ahead and file on Saturday. So that you're going to see some people like Lizzie Fletcher. Her district is District 7. Her district number is still going to be 7. It's going to be a dramatically different 7, but it's still 7. So for me, if the maps stand, though, if they stand, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run for this new 33rd, which is all of this, this is pretty much our whole 32 district now. So most of this 33rd, this whole half is our existing 32nd congressional district. And then up here is the part I represented in the state legislature. So I'm anticipating that I will file here. So I'm going to wait to file. You're not going to see me file on Saturday because I have a district number. I will be in a different district number. So those of us that have a number different, like Greg Kassar has a number different, you're not going to see us file immediately. We're going to wait and see what the maps, when the ruling comes out, because then we know what seat to file for. Because our committee chair, our party chair, is going to have a fit if we call, hey, I didn't mean to file for that seat. I want this one. Can you just move it?
Reimbursing filing fees.
I know. So that's it. And they're too expensive. So that's kind of the thing. We're just waiting to see. We'll see what happens. But, I hope whichever seat I run for, that I'll have your support. Be counting on it. We'll be needing it. You guys are the anchor of Democratic activism here in Dallas County. And so we're just waiting to see. But the Republicans who testified at the trial just did a terrible job. They were inconsistent. They lied about a lot of things. They misrepresented a lot of things. So our lawyers are feeling like it could happen. We really could win this case. And so the thing is this. So what happens is if the court invalidates the maps, okay, then there will be a direct appeal to the Supreme Court. But because the filing period is right now, the general theory is that the Supreme Court would wait and take it up for next election cycle, not this cycle, because the deadlines are too close on us. One of the things that I have heard, though, is that they were going to delay this until the Prop 50 vote came in because they didn't want the undoing of our maps to negatively impact the Prop 50 vote. So I'm actually not surprised that it hasn't come out yet. I'm hoping it'll come out tomorrow, but we'll see. So that's kind of the deal on redistricting. So we are in the middle of a government shutdown, as you all know. Let me remind you, we have a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican executive. So this notion that Democrats are shutting down the government is the biggest amount of BS I've ever heard. So what we have is, there's several things going on here. We have not actually been in session since September 19th. That's the last day the House was in session. Since the beginning of July, House Republicans have only called us in session 19 days. So I think the count is now 130 days out of 19 that they've done. Actually, I chose not to get paid. I thought if federal workers aren't getting paid, I'm not going to get paid. But yeah, it's a whole mess. And so we have to go back. I think it's really important for us to step back and understand the why are we here? What is going on and why is this happening? So it goes back to before the election. Donald Trump cut a deal with big tech billionaires, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, several of them, big tech billionaires. And the deal was this: you fund my presidential campaign, I will give you a giant tax break. That was it. And they said, deal done. And so they invested billions of dollars in electing Donald Trump president. So then he had to pay off the deal by giving a tax break. Now, the only way to do that tax break is to cut 40 million people off of food, SNAP, seniors, kids, mothers, people with disabilities. The only way to give them that tax break is to cut Medicaid, is to cut Corporation for Public Broadcasting, is to cut funding for the arts, cut funding for our public universities, cut funding for mass transit, cut funding for the environment, cut funding for all the things that we care about. And it still wasn't enough money, so they added another $4 trillion to our deficit. So they cut all the things and then added $4 trillion to the debt, because that's what it took to make the deal. So never, ever forget the why are we here? And so what has happened is the bill that cut all of these things, the big bill, was passed in March, but it was under an old budget. So the government shuts down September 30th. That's our fiscal year. That date is on the calendar every year. That date was on the calendar when I was sworn in January 3rd. That date was on the calendar in March when this bill passed. Everybody knew the day the government was going to run out of money. Now, when they passed the bill in March, the deal was, we're going to work on health care. That's what they told the Senate, which is why the Senate let it go through. But they had all of April, May, June, July, August, September, October, no deal on health care. Just a concept of a plan. No deal, no nothing, no nada. So now I voted against this shit the first time. I voted against it last time, and I'm going to continue to vote it against it until they give us our health care and feed people. I mean, it's the basic things. And so so now they're saying this is the Senate's problem. These are Senate Democrats. You know, my thing is this. It's like this. If I'm going to earn your vote, I have to be for something that you want to vote for. Yeah. So they're all panty twisted because we don't want to vote for their piece of crap bill. They haven't given us a bill to vote for. I don't have the ability as the minority party to put a bill on the calendar. I don't have the ability to set a bill for a vote in the minority party. Only the majority can do that. Only Republicans can do that. So they have an obligation to put a bill out there that can get Democratic support. They want to keep the government funded. Now remember, Senate Democrats cut a deal on this timing thing to say, okay, you can put your bill on the floor, but we get our bill on the floor. And so they had there was a bill that said, we're just going to keep the status quo from before. We're going to fund the government. We're going to keep health care, the ACA tax credits, and SNAP all the way it was. And you can open the government. They said no. And the Republicans voted against that 13 times. So they're not serious about opening the government because they had an opportunity to do that. They're only serious about making sure that they can keep their promise that they made to win the election. That's right? Because they can't do it otherwise. So then there's the color of that on top of it, which is the Epstein Files. So it has paralyzed Republicans. They shut down a week and a half early before our August break. And they only came back to vote a few things in September. And that's it, because Epstein, because they're going to have to release the files. And I'm here to tell you, they are big bad, way bad, terrible, horrible, awful bad. And so the Oversight Committee had a chance to interview a lot of the victims confidentially. And it is way bad. I'm telling you, it's horrible. It is so morally offensive, and it reaches the highest levels of power. Look at Prince Andrew. Yeah. I mean, this is the highest levels of power in multiple countries, and it is so bad. And so they're doing everything they can. They're not swearing in Adelita Grijalva. We're going to have another election tonight in Houston, right? So they're going to finally fill Sylvester Turner's seat. But those files will come out. And buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to be something. It is so horrible what they've done to all these women and girls, and sex trafficking and pedophilia and the whole thing. It's just reprehensible. I will tell you one story I heard just to give you a flavor for it. She was 16. She was on the island, forced to have sex with multiple men, and was told her father was in cancer treatment. And they said, the doctors don't have to come if you don't do what you know you're supposed to do. And that's just one example of the emotional and physical abuse that was going on, and it is vast. So the Epstein Files are going to be something I think that's going to be transformational in this country in terms of how we talk about all those issues, and the political ramifications are going to be significant. And so they're doing everything they can to not have that be part of the narrative, which is why they're not swearing in Adelita. But then they're going to be 2 votes. So there's that. So people say, what's going to happen now? Well, paychecks are being missed. Federal workers are not getting paid now. They're on their second paycheck. The SNAP benefits, we sued. We forced them to have to disperse SNAP monies. I will say the legal process is working. As a lawyer, many of you know, I'm a longtime attorney here. I'm on a task force in the House that oversees all of the litigation. We filed over 487 lawsuits. The House, I personally have signed on to 18 amicus briefs, and we're winning in those cases. It just is like this. And so it's all us don't lose all faith in our judiciary. We're still getting a lot of really good wins in the litigation process. But I think rumblings are starting to crack now because the CR went through November 21st. Well, that's just in 2 weeks. So we're going to have to redo the whole process because now the date is expiring. So I'm told that next week, right after Veterans Day, we'll probably get called back. They've had us on a 48-hour notice. Now we're on a 24-hour notice. So we'll get a notice and say you have to be in DC by tomorrow. And so I'm expecting something to break because a new CR is going to have to be filed, a new resolution to keep the government funded. And I think it will include healthcare stuff, because what I've heard from my district is, just to give you some numbers, in Texas 32, right here where we are, 100,000 people get their healthcare from the Affordable Care Act. Now, if you do, and if you have received notices and your premiums, I want to know that. So please send me a screenshot, email us. We want to know what's happening with your health care. And so because we're expecting many of you to have significant premium increases in your health insurance, we want that fact. We want that information. We want to be able to share those stories and say this is not an insignificant issue that we're fighting about.
So we have some exciting results.
What's that?
So we have the results in from State Senate District 9, which is the state Senate. So we have the early voting in. Democrats typically underperform in a special election. Right now, he's overperforming the last results by 8 points. He's in the lead with 44% a three-way race.
That's so great. I did a video for Taylor. I called you. I called a lot of people and say, hey, this is a chance for Democrats to get really involved. I am so excited if we can win that seat. So let me see. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Help ease my mind on this Epstein file things, because it's taken so long to come out. Are we sure they're not redacting? They're not editing? Yeah. They're not. How are we sure? Yeah. Even if they come out, that it's been that it's really
well. So the House Oversight Committee Robert Garcia is the new Democratic chair, and he's amazing. But he subpoenaed the files from the estate directly, and that's where we got a lot of information. That's where that photograph, that happy birthday card came, was from the estate directly, not from the Justice Department. And I think there's enough out there. I'm sure they are redacting some things, but I think there's some protections. Those files have been seen by a lot of people over multiple administrations. And so, yeah, that's the best I got. Yeah.
But he's never gotten in trouble for one thing. Unbelievable.
Trump, you mean?
Yeah. So do you think actually anything will come of them coming out?
I do. I can't tell you why, but I do. She asked me if the Epstein Files come out, do I think there could be some ramifications for Trump? And my answer, I understand that. I have to say, I think I have to be very careful about how I say this. I think that the consequences that are going to come out are going to be so abhorrent that he's going to lose probably 100 Republicans, is what I've heard. I mean, just look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's like not having it. You know, I mean, there are people when you have a chance, and she was in there with the victims. Nancy Mace not having it. Two staunch Trumpers not having it. And they were in there. When you have a chance to get in there and really see it, and you talk to the victims and you see the documents and you see the stuff, it's just a hard no. And so I think that's why they're fighting so hard to keep them from coming out. And yeah.
Wall Street Journal on my watch says that Virginia has just elected a Democrat.
By how many points? Okay. So about 10 points. So that's a governor's foot. So you know when you're talking about. That's great. That's great. And Mickey Sherrill's amazing. You had a question.
Tell us more about the 1,000 checks, if you will, that Trump wrote to one Epstein account that has accumulated up to maybe $1 billion.
Yeah. He's asking about checks that Trump wrote to an Epstein account. I think let's move on from Epstein, but I'm just going to say this. It is really bad. You know, I mean, that's what, if you have one takeaway from this, is it's really, really bad. There's a lot of evidence. There's a reason why they have fought really hard to not have it come out. Yeah, I think we're just going to end that Epstein stuff.
Just one thing I want to ask you. Can you put down the information that's been put out that if you do pass a House bill, the Senate can reject it? Isn't it just the House asking for it to go to that committee, and the Senate has nothing to do with it?
Right. This is a House oversight. Yeah. Yeah. So non-Epstein questions. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They always immediately appeal this right on that as far as they can. And we know the Supreme Court is basically the Supreme Six. And how are we gonna, when we have like the chief executive completely ignores court orders, even of the Supreme Court, that just sends a message that court orders don't matter.
Right. Well, that's called a dictatorship, and that's called authoritarianism. Well, I think that. Right. Well, you know, he said he say today he was going to ignore the Supreme Court's order ordering him to disperse SNAP, but then they reversed that. They reversed it immediately. Said, "Oh no, we're going to comply." I think those around him realize that you have to comply with court orders. But I think that the answer to your question is elections. That's why these races are so important. This is why the narrative of coming out of tonight, when you're out and you're talking and you're commenting and you're interacting with people, Virginia, we flipped a seat. There was a Republican governor. We flipped it by over 10 points. This is the people rejecting Republicanism. This is the people rejecting Trumpism. And so in New Jersey, if that number holds for Becky Sherrill, New Jersey hasn't had a governor election with the same or had the same party be governor 3 terms in like 60 years. This is going to be a rejection. If Taylor Emmett wins in Fort Worth, that is a rejection. And so Prop 50 wins. That is a huge rejection by the people to say, no, you're not going to do that here. Because if you think about it, they had an independent commission in California, and they had to put it to a ballot initiative to get the people to vote, and they managed to get it all through. And if that thing passes by any significant margin, that is a strong rebuke of what is happening. So what we have to look for is our electoral wins and where are we going. And that's one of the things that the feds asked me to talk about is what? Yeah, 6130. One of the things that Fed asked me to talk about is what do you do now? Where do we go? How do we harness this frustration? How do we harness our anger? How do we harness our fear? How do we harness our anxiety? What do we do? What do we do? And I think a couple of things. One, re-engage with your neighbors. Come back to what it means to be a compassionate human being. Knock on the door of those neighbors. Are you okay? How are you doing? Are you having a hard time? Do you have enough food to eat? Do you need help with health care? Do you need help? Are you worried about something? I just am checking on my neighbor. How long has it been since you've had a conversation like that? How long has it been since somebody's reached out to you like that, who may not be your best friend, right? And have a conversation with your neighbors. And then what that does, that opens the door. For one, it's just the right thing to do. We've got to start bringing compassion back into our country. We can't just have a dialogue that's only fueled by hate, and because that's what they're doing. They're trying to create hate and animosity, say, I'm better, my life is so miserable, but by God, I'm better than you. And as long as I'm better than you, then I'm okay. That's not how we need to be. That's that famous LBJ quote that said, if you can make one man think he's better than another, you can fleece his pocket the entire time. And so, check on your neighbors. Have a community. I would love to see every one of you all have a neighborhood block thing. A coffee, an outdoor, a front yard, lemonade, beer thing, whatever thing, and invite anyone running for office to come. Have them have an experience with somebody who's actually on a ballot, to meet a Democrat, to say, you know what, we're not all three-headed monsters. We all have good ideas. We care about you. Make them rethink, well, maybe I should think about voting. 8 million registered voters did not vote in the state of Texas last election. 8 million. If 10% of them had voted, we would have won every statewide race. We would have won everything. The whole state. It doesn't take that much. But what I hear from people is people feel disillusioned. They feel isolated. They're angry. They don't feel like their government works for them. They don't feel like their vote matters. So how do we get their vote to matter? How do we do that? What did I do? They don't want my vote to matter. But how do you get their vote to matter? Well, it can't always just be a politician. It has to be Everyone. I can't get this damn thing to work. It has to be everyone. You know, it has to be everyone. And so you have an amazing ability to get the vote to work, but not the microphone. But you think about how do you reach people? And so it was interesting. I was knocking doors this past election, and I knocked on the door of this kid who's probably 26, Hispanic guy in a low-rent part of town, and I knocked on his door, and I said, "Hey, I'm Julie, running to represent you in Congress." And he goes, "Well, I don't know if I'm going to vote." I said, "Well, why don't you vote?" He goes, "Well, I want to ask you a question. How do you feel about boys playing girls' sports?" And I looked at him and I said, "Why is that the question you asked me? Why are you not asking me, what am I going to do to get you out of living in your parents' house? Why aren't you asking me, what am I going to do to give you a better wage? Why aren't you asking me, what am I going to do to make sure you have the workforce training so you can get a decent job? Why aren't you asking me that? Why aren't you asking me, what am I going to do so that you can build credit, maybe buy a car, and get off this bicycle?" And he looked at me, he goes, "I never thought about that." He goes, it's just that's the only thing I hear people talking about." I said, "That doesn't affect you?" I said, "Do you know any trans people trying to play sports?" "Well, no." I said, "Well, why are you getting sidetracked by something that has nothing to do with you? And why aren't you voting on something that can help you? I would think you'd want to get, this is your parents' house." "Yes, ma'am." "I think you'd want to get out of your parents' house." "Yes, ma'am." He goes, "I'm going to vote." But that's what I mean. It's about getting to talk to people and do that. So organize. I went to some things like that where people had organized a front yard party. It was non-threatening. You could just walk up the street. You weren't going in somebody's house you didn't know. It was very accessible. It was a neighborhood thing, and everybody could come. Invite everyone, because everyone is unhappy. But people, what I've sensed is, I've talked to a lot of Republicans lately, and I'll sit next to them on the plane. I fly back and forth all the time. All kinds of people sit on the plane. And when they, and they'll go, "Well, I've just always been one." I said, "Well, do you like this?" "Well, no." "Well, how do you feel about them cutting healthcare?" "Oh, I hate that." "Well, how do you feel about them cutting all USAID?" "Oh, I think that's terrible. They're destroying America's role in the world." "Oh, well, how do you feel about them cutting?" "I think that's awful. I don't like all these people hungry." "Well, how do you feel about their attack on universities?" "Oh, that's terrible. I love my university." I said, "Well, what the hell are you doing voting Republican?" And he goes, "Well, that's just all I've ever known." And so I think we have a huge struggle of this identity, because if you think about it in the reverse, what would it take for you to vote for a Republican? I mean, I struggle with that question. I haven't come up with an answer. I mean, there's, but it's the same thing in reverse. But if we're going to really move the needle in Texas, we have to have conversations, and we have to be open. And so talk to your neighbors, have neighborhood parties, engage people, and be involved in the primaries. We must have a strong primary turnout. I'm actually excited that we're going to have a robust Senate primary. I think it's good for us. I think it's good for Democrats to have statewide primaries that have candidates of interest and that are going to come in here and compete for our vote and challenge our ideas and do just exactly what Kendall said, not say the same old things, really push the party forward and have people have to be invested and knock on the doors. It reminds me of, don't you remember how much excitement there was in the 2008 primary with Barack and Hillary? I mean, it was packed. There were so many Democrats everywhere. It was just out of the wazoo. People were so excited because we had a robust Democratic primary. And I'm hopeful that we can have that same enthusiasm this cycle with some of our statewide slates. We have incredible things coming up with that. And so, okay, Terry.
Thank you, Julie. I know you saw him. So I totally agree with, well, you know, I agree with, but the whole thing about the neighborhood get-togethers, I think that's brilliant. However, I want to just go. So I was on staff, paid staff with the Biden campaign, Biden for Texas. And one of the things I recall, and some of you have heard this story before, is I stopped at the drugstore on the way home after being at some event, and I was all jazzed and excited, and I spoke to this young black woman who was the clerk at CVS. And of course, as I often do with my loud and nosy self, I asked her about if she was registered to vote, and essentially she told me, "Ah, fuck it, I don't give a shit, it makes no difference to me." And so we talked for a few moments, and essentially what she said to me was, "It doesn't matter to me whether it's a Democrat or Republican in office, because my life isn't going to be better. And I need help now." And I tried to talk to her a little bit about the benefit of having a Democrat in office down the road. It's going to make this difference, and if you can just hang on. And she's like, "No, you don't understand. I need help today."
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So the reason I mention that is because, like in the neighborhood I live in, it's a very, very blue neighborhood, and it's a very, very high-voting neighborhood. And I'm glad to have events in my neighborhood, in my home, in my front yard, whatever. But I would go one step further in what you suggested, which is to help people who may not have that ability to have events in their neighborhoods that are not high-voting neighborhoods.
Yeah, I mean, we have to go everywhere. And I mean, the reality of it is, you know, we just have to be anywhere in all the things. But I think for the primary, if we need to have more than 10% turnout in our primary, you know, it's ridiculous how low the turnout is in our primary. And so, because if you vote in the primary, you're going to be more likely to vote in the general. And so we need to take the advantage of the fact that we're going to have a robust primary as a great opportunity to engage. You do precinct chairs. Y'all had a wonderful precinct chair recruitment event. I think you guys put this together last cycle. Didn't you put a wonderful precinct chair recruitment event together? And it was great. And we need to do that. And we need to do those things again, you know, as many places as we can to get people engaged, but treat the primary as if it's the general. Treat the primary as if it's the same passionate, the same importance, because that is the foundation by which we can launch into a general and to flip seats. It's freaking hard, but that's what we're going to have to do. Yeah.
Let's talk about mail-in votes, because 40% of our mail-in votes get tossed because people don't know they need to sign the back of the envelope. We've got to do a better job about reaching out into our communities, reaching out into what is generally the older vote group, the more rural group that does mail-in voting, to explain to them that it's not enough to just stick it in an envelope.
That's right.
Put it in. You gotta sign the back of that.
You have to do education, voter education on mail-in ballots. Preferably, you'll figure out how to get them to the poll, because you know they're not going to invalidate their ballot at the poll, but they're going to do everything they can to invalidate their ballot. I've been told it was last question, but you back there, yeah, you've been raising your hand.
Hi, my name's Katie, and I don't know if you remember me, but I actually met with you in March. I work in Mosaic Family Services.
Oh, yeah.
And you helped us get our funding unfrozen. So I actually wanted to talk to you about another issue that we're facing. So I'm glad that everyone was talking so much about trafficking earlier, the Epstein Files, because right now Donald has done. It's a long story, but basically a handful of things have happened, and he's essentially frozen all money from the Office of Victims of Crime, which supports trafficking survivors across the country. And there's thousands of survivors that are about to be homeless. They are about to be
Yeah, well, we'll follow up on that together. And the lesson of that is please reach out. My staff is amazing. They work really, really hard. They do incredible things. You know, the great Aaron Moore is, leading of all things. But I'm told I can't take any more questions. But I do want to end with this one thing. Historically, I'm gonna lump everyone in this room in this category. Historically, our lives are pretty good. You have a place to live. You've had a good job. You can afford to be here. You're not working your second job because you're here. Yeah. Life's been okay. We've been voting on values, things that we care about. But your day-to-day life has been all right. You've been able to get a car. You've been able to go to the grocery store, buy a good bottle of wine. Live your life. Maybe ups and downs. But all in all, it's been okay. And that's been the case for a lot of people. There's also a lot of people that are really struggling and really on the edge. But I think what has happened in the last year is that people have felt their government like they've never felt it before. Steve Parker, who's a former fire chief of Farmers Branch when I was first running for office, told me, he goes, Julie, government's working when no one's thinking about it. When no one's talking about it and no one is at all. But right now, everyone is feeling their government, from the attacks on free speech, from the attacks on our universities, from the attacks on America's role in the world, from attacks on our national security, from attacks on our healthcare, from attacks on our SNAP, from attacks on DEI, people of color, of women, of just all the things. People are right. Exactly. Attack on due process, snatching people. I've rallied against that a lot in Congress. And they're feeling our government like we haven't felt it. You're seeing things in your lifetime that you never thought you would see from the United States of America and from our government. And so now I think my hope is that people realize their vote does matter, that government does affect them. And when we see what can happen when the people rise up, when you cancel 1 million Hulu subscriptions in 24 hours, your show gets put back on the air. So never, ever forget that the power is in your hands. The power always resides with the people. And so it's about, are you going to use it? Are you going to fight desperately for it? Or are you going to give it up? Are you going to let it be taken from you? Because we're at a time when we have to fight desperately, because the power, and you have the power to do it. We all do, but it takes all of us. It can't just be one voice. It takes all of us. And when we do, we can take our country back and stop this national nightmare that we've been living in. Thank you so much for having me tonight. Nikki Sherrill won. That was declared the winner. How much? 59-38. She won by 20 points. Now that is what I'm talking about, is the people, because Mike, they thought she was only going to win by 2. Oh, it was just 30% in. That's too early. Okay. But I want to know the spread. The spread matters. It's not just that they won, but this is New Jersey, but the spread matters. And so if she holds on to a 20-point lead in New Jersey, y'all, that is a full-on royal Democratic ass whipping. That is exciting. That is great. I want to bring up my good friend John
Bryant. Thank you guys very much. Hey, thank y'all. What a great family to be a member of. I'm so glad to be here with you guys week after week, month after month. You don't need 3 long speeches, so I'm going to give you a short one, and I'm going to back up what Julie and Kendall said earlier. When I was in Congress, after 4 terms of representing only Dallas County, had downtown Oaklawn, East Dallas, Garland, all the way down to the southern part of Dallas County, they redrew all the lines. All of a sudden, I had downtown Dallas, downtown Tyler, and downtown Bryan, Texas, and all the territory in between. And they said, that liberal John Brown, he'll never make it, Well, I didn't change my vote one bit. I stayed just as progressive as I ever was, and I was elected 3 more times in that district. So I don't think it matters if Julie's running in her old district or in this new district. She's going to be elected to Congress 1 more time, at least, if she wants to stay there, and I sure hope she does. So I'm very optimistic about it. Second thing I want to say is this. Kendall said, he said, don't let this primary go by without sending me a bunch of great candidates, because the primary is where we pick the candidates, okay? You've heard me say this theme before, but we just had to vote on 17 propositions today in this last 2 weeks of open voting. It takes 100 votes to put those propositions on the ballot. There are only 88 Republicans in the Texas House. What happened to all those bad propositions that got on? How'd they get on there? You know, I don't think you have to think too hard to figure that out. We need to be, and along the same lines, we heard Kendall saying, well, why don't people get out and vote? Julie talked a little bit about that as well. The most important thing for getting people out to vote is when they see their representatives fighting for the things they believe in. They've got to see it. Not going along to get along with the powers that be. The first question you should ask every single Democratic candidate for state representative when they come before this club is, are you going to vote for a Democrat for Speaker, or are you going to once again vote for a Republican for Speaker? Because until we have a cohesive caucus that acts together, that's looking to each other for support, and tries to use whatever leverage our Democratic group has to get as much of a benefit for the public, not for the office holders, we're not ever going to be able to get on top of this. In Congress, Hakeem Jeffries and Julie and others, they manage a caucus which has got, what do you have, 214 members in the caucus, something like that now?
Well, 212, and we'll do 14 when they get sworn in.
Okay, good. 212, but 214 when they get sworn. The other 2 get sworn in. 214. We only have 62. They managed 214 better than we managed 62. So ask those candidates when they come before you, are you going to vote for a Democrat for Speaker, or are you going to be the same old thing and keep on voting for a Republican for Speaker? And I nominated Ana Maria Ramos for Speaker in this last session. We didn't get enough votes. Next time around, we ought to get all 62 votes. Hopefully, a lot more than 62 will be there next time around, because we're going to work hard the way these guys have been speaking. All right. When I went up to Washington, D.C., and when I became a congressman, I heard a great story, and I've been telling it ever since, and some of you may have heard it. But the senator, you know, he goes to one of those big fancy parties at one of those big hotels, you know, these round tables where the tablecloth are spread all over the room, and the big shot senator goes and sits down, and out comes a waiter, and he starts to go around the table, and he puts 1 pat of butter on everybody's butter dish. The senator calls him back and said, hey, I'd like to have 2 pats of butter, if you don't mind. And the waiter said, well, I'm sorry, I'm only supposed to give you 1 pat of butter. And the senator said, well, maybe you don't know who I am. He said, no, sir, I don't know who you are. He said, I'm a U.S. senator. I cast votes every day that affects the lives of millions of people. I sit on an important committee that determines how the whole Congress goes. I'd like to have 2 pats of butter. And the waiter said, well, maybe you don't know who I am. The senator said, well, who are you? And he says, I'm the guy in charge of the butter. Yeah. Now that joke is double-edged sword, because we like to hear about the little guy sticking it to the big guy, okay? But the little guy is in charge of the butter, and that's you and me, okay? And that's the sermon we just heard from Kendall and the sermon we just heard from Julie. We've got to get out there and do something different. I just had 5 town hall meetings, I guess 2 weeks ago, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 meetings. What do you say? Thanks to all you guys who were there, but a lot of people who were there were people I had never seen before. And every one of those meetings was full. Why? Because everybody's so worried about things. They want to come out and hear somebody say, somehow or another, we're going to find a way to make it better. And I talked to my staff and said, you know, what are we going to, I'm going to say all the news is bad. You can't just leave people hopeless. You got to have something to say to give them some kind of hope. The best I could do, and it was true, the best I could do was to say, look, it's a different time. It's just like Julie was saying a minute ago about how we have a pretty easy time, an awful lot of us. That could change real quickly. The only way we're going to fight back, the only way we're going to be able to get it back on top is if people start doing some things differently than they used to do, some uncomfortable things. So I asked the crowd in these town hall meetings, I said, don't raise your hands, but I just want you to think about it. How many of you have ever made a campaign contribution to a candidate? You know, everybody, not you guys, y'all have all done it. In a town hall meeting, yeah, with the regular people. You know what? I know, 2/3 of them have never even thought about it. It's not their job. That's the political class or somebody. I don't know what they're thinking exactly. How many have ever done significant volunteer work, at any level? And I know what the true answer would be if I made everybody answer one by one. Most people have never done anything uncomfortable. It's this time around, we're going to have to do some things that are a little bit outside of our comfort zone. We're going to have to get really involved. We're going to have to start knocking on those doors. We're going to have to start talking to people. I like the way Julie characterized that. We're going to have to actually kind of do that kind of stuff. And everybody's going to have to stay at their post and stick with each other. Let our hearts lead us a little bit so that we get past the area in which we have in the past always had courage. And I'm confident that the United States of America, which has been through a lot of tough stuff, this is one of the toughest things, is going to come out on top, and you and I are going to be proud of what we've done together. Thanks very much.
And that's why John Bryant's going to get the Defender of Democracy Award at the JJ on Monday night. Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming. Thank you to Kendall, Julie, and John. I hope you feel the love. You guys fill the house, and we are so grateful. So I'm going to just give you a little bit of a roadmap about where we're going to go from here. So like Kendall and Julie and John told us to do, we have got some really specific calls of action. And so two of our founding feds, Jill Cochran and Joey Cade, are going to come up here in just a second and walk you through the call to action. I know it's been a long evening, but hang with us. Kendall told us how important it is to support our Democratic candidates. So after Julie and Jill finish the call to action, if candidates want to start moving up here to this part of the room, we're going to give you guys the opportunity to introduce yourself briefly. So thanks for your patience. Come on up, Joey and Jill.
Thank you. Hand it off to them right away.
Okay, I'm going to do this really quick because I know we're running out of time, but it is my sincere honor to introduce some guests that are with us tonight, and hopefully they'll become members too. But it's Noemi with Vecinos Unidos, DFW. It is truly an honor. She is doing some of the most critical hard work right now at Immigration Court and at the ICE field office. And we have Azael with El Movimiento, who does some incredible work, and hopefully he's going to be a candidate one day. And I keep giving the nudge there. And he is doing stuff on where you can do patrols to help stop ICE. And they're going to be introducing Sandra, who is a force in and of herself. So we are super excited to have them. So come on up and tell us what all we can do on Thursday.
I did want to give some recognition to Julie Johnson here, since I have the opportunity to meet her today in person. But she helped us out with the letter to the field office. How many of you know where the Dallas ICE field office is at? Raise your hand. Okay, so half of the room doesn't have their hands up, but that is literally down the street. Oh, closer? Okay. The field office is really near by the airport in DFW, and the conditions there were getting worse and are still getting worse. People are being held there longer than what they're supposed to, and Julie Johnson helped us sign on to a letter with Mark Vesey and Julie Crockett back in July. So I would definitely want to give her some props for that. So give her a round of applause for that. Thank you for that. And right now, we do have some stories to tell you, and really quick, a quick call to action. I'm going to let them speak more. They're the real change makers here. But tomorrow, on Thursday, we are doing a rally, and we also are bringing people to city council. So if you see on those tables, we have some flyers to register to speak. So far, we have 30 speakers speaking at this meeting. So definitely, we need a lot of people. We need to pack that, because you know what they're talking about: bringing 287G to Dallas, and it is going to impact Dallas if it passes. This is crucial because it turns local police into ICE agents. We are hearing that the police chief will be there, and he has put out a memo. So it's important that he hears that we're here to fight back as well. And so this is why we have this registration link. So please register if you can, or even just work from home at City Council, at City Hall. So yeah, that is the call to action that we're doing. And we also have some other flyers for Ideas on Tap. Those are some educational, informative things. That one is on mental health with Dr. Radhi Dani, and also other information as well. But I did want to pass it over to Noemi and Sandra, who are doing the work at Vecinos Unidos.
Jill asked me and Asael and I a few days ago if we would want the opportunity to address you all. And I thought it was a great opportunity for us to not only introduce ourselves, but to introduce people like Sandra, who are at the core of really what inspires people like me to get out there and use their free time and fight for the marginalized community. I met Sandra back when Kendall mentioned our big disappointment in 2016. I met Sandra because I was looking for ways to volunteer. I wanted to help in some capacity, and everywhere that I would see people doing good work, I saw Sandra and I saw a few other women, and I said, these are people I need to study, emulate, figure out how they move, who they listen to when they try to find solutions that are helpful. And so if I'm standing before you today, it's really because I've had the opportunity of learning from women like Sandra. I also, though, want to recognize Asael. I mentioned to Solidarity Sunday a few weeks ago when we got an opportunity to speak. Jill had reached out to me through a civil rights attorney, mutual friend. And I said, you know what, I'd like to bring Asael with me. He is an up-and-coming young activist, a force to be reckoned with in and of his own. There was a DHS attorney earlier this year that was found out to be running a white supremacist account on X. And it was because of the campaign work that Asael did in February that there was a reporting of it, and then he was suspended, unfortunately with pay, suspended. So we met in February. I talked about some of the ideas that I had with Vecinos Unidos, and it was a great dynamic. We've gotten so many campaigns off the ground. Vecinos Unidos, DFWs, is Neighbors United in Dallas-Fort Worth. It really emulates the spirit of one of the things that Julie was mentioning, which is how many of us go out and ask our neighbors how they're doing, or go out and offer information to them without anything in exchange. That was really at the core of Vecinos Unidos, DFW. Many of you know we've been at the court. We've been bringing folks into that work at court. And I unfortunately have to share with you that ICE is back at the immigration courts in Dallas as of today. It was very difficult this morning when our volunteers were getting ready to head to court with a community member that had asked for company. It was a very difficult thing for me to have to let them know that they're there actually, and you may see them. So they're back. So we'll continue doing that work. But there's actually been a shift in what's happening in Dallas, because in early September, there was an injunction that made it so that ICE stopped coming. They stopped picking up folks whose cases had been dismissed. So there is a new loophole, which we'll share more information on later, what loophole is bringing them back into the courts, because that is new. But regardless of 287G passing or not passing, ICE is working in Dallas, and DPD is also assisting ICE in Dallas. Sandra has been connected and rooted in community in a way that has allowed us to hear about what was happening at the field office. So I'd like for her to have the opportunity not only to introduce herself, but explain to you why we need to continue to bring volunteers into the work regardless if 287G doesn't pass, because our neighbors are being captured. They are being picked up. They are being ripped away from their families, and it is not criminals that they are going after. So it's my pleasure to hand this over to Sandra so that she can speak to us about the work she's guiding.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It gives me hope. It gives me a lot of hope to see everyone that's here and is taking time to be here. Just a couple of things. I know some folks are good at stats, but so I want to start with that. The goal for ICE is at least 5,000 people a day. The goal for the field office minimum is 75 folks. They charge $450 per person per day at a cell. At a cell, we host about 60 plus folks. So as they're going around trying to pick up folks in their homes and their work sites, as they're dropping off their kids at school, because community has come together and done conversations, passed on all your rights, talk about what are some best things to prepare for. They have to pivot, right? The ICE has to unfortunately pivot because the work that we're doing is working, right? Woo! So I want to take the time to applaud all the folks that have organized to make sure that we did anywhere from know your rights to power of attorneys, and that's working. And so what's causing is that now ICE has to pivot. And now what they're doing is that folks that have regular check-ins that are asylum seekers, let me stick to that, asylum seekers, which is a right. It's a right for folks to seek asylum in a country, and it's a right for them to get processed, have a hearing, present why they deserve asylum, right? So as folks are doing that, and they're waiting for that opportunity to have the court hearing, in the meantime, they have to go to a field office and do check-ins, regular check-ins. Well, now they're snatching them as they're going in for their check-ins. And sometimes they're texting them in the middle of the night and telling them that they have to come in the next morning. It started when we first were there at 7 a.m. Then they saw we were there, so they told them 6 a.m. Now some folks are being told 5 a.m. So some of our organizers are waking up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to be there at 4:30 just to talk to folks. What are we telling folks? Be prepared. Have a privacy waiver. Congress has been super helpful. I want to take the time to shout out to Congress, Julie, also Jasmine Crockett, who has assisted us. Because of the government shutdown, it is difficult for us to locate individuals. So we have to reach out to Congress so that Congress can help us locate where they have been snatched to. Because they will, even if they're snatched at the field office, sometimes we don't know where is the actual detention center where they're being sent to. I want to talk about a little bit of the cases that we're working with. There's folks that need medication, like Paola, that needs medication that's diabetic, needs medication every 2 hours. And that individual is not receiving the medication. So now she has sores inside her mouth and bleeds out of her gums. She was disappeared for 2 weeks, was in a hospital and didn't even know what hospital she was in. Now that she's still inside, she has to take the medication that they gave her the last pill at night, cut it in half, and in the middle of the night, take the other half. That's what's happening in America today. There's a woman that breastfed her child, and she was told randomly to come and check in. They told her to come without her family, for her to come alone. Okay? On a Friday morning, she left her home. The husband comes in the afternoon and tells me she needs to have her daughter with her because she breastfeed her. Can we just take her inside? We call Jasmine Crockett's office and they're like, you can try, but they're probably just gonna offer her a pump. We go in there and they tell her that, oh no, we don't give her a pump until she gets transferred. She might be transferred tonight, she might be transferred over the weekend. So what happened past the weekend, her milk dried up. And now the baby has to take powder milk, which is not what the mom wanted. You understand? So those are the cases that we're working with. On top of that, The cars that are being left there are being pounded, and now families have to pay for that. On top of that, now families have to figure out how to pay rent. That's coming up this weekend past and continuing this week. So we need volunteers. We need folks to be out there to support them, get them privacy waivers so we can locate where they are. We need folks to give them comfort. Multiple times they have come out distraught to hear that their husband has been arrested, that their family member has been arrested. Kids are out there looking for their parents. Kids were left at a hotel room because they were told not to bring the kids, and the kids were left at a hotel room while they waited for the parents to get out. Folks are driving 2 to 4 to 6 hours away to come here for a check-in with the anxiety of not knowing if they're going to come back. We need your support. We need folks to be out there in the field office supporting folks getting privacy waivers so we can locate them, to give them comfort, to let them know that they did the right thing, that they were doing the right thing, that they were showing up and doing their part. But this is not on them, but this is on a system that has failed them. Okay? We need folks to be able to call it out, be outside, give them the shame sign because it's working. Because when we first were there, they were arresting 20 plus people per day that we knew of. Now today the numbers have dropped. Because we are there, we're present, and we're letting them know that their neighbors care for them. I urge you, if you're able and can come out and even stand there in solidarity, so sometimes it's not just me there, to come out, support me, and when I'm crying and when I'm frustrated, you give me a hug, because it's frustrating to see a lot of these things. I urge you, if you can donate so we can help folks with their rent assistance. We're paying for the towing companies. Now we confronted the towing company. We told them, are you working with ICE? And they said, yes, we have a contract with ICE. We are told after the person is arrested, the family has 24 hours to pick up the car. Now we are told to pick it up. A family came out to finally be able to pick up the car, and they were told that it was $865. The family could not afford that. They were like, can I at least get my personal items out of the vehicle? And they're like, yes. Can we buy the key from you? It's $50. We'll give you $50 for your key. The audacity. The audacity. So I ask y'all, if you can, also donate. Spread the word. There's a lot of folks that don't know a lot of these things that are happening. I'm in conversations every day, and folks are like, I can't believe this. This is not law and order. This is not dual process. And I'm like, dual process for who? Law and order for who? Thank you so much.
We didn't bring a sign-up sheet, so this is just an open call at 10 a.m. on Saturday at the Oak Lawn United Methodist Church. We'll be hosting an orientation to prepare volunteers for what's needed at court, what's needed at the field office, how you can be supportive to this work. So we look forward to seeing you 10 a.m. Oak Lawn United Methodist Church. There's no sign-up today, so just join us, please.
Thank you. We're also just sharing this campaign that's already underway. A few different groups. I believe El Movimiento is involved as well. No, that's not this one. You're right. That, yeah.
So this is really quick. This is just a campaign we're going to start with multiple organizations here in Dallas. We are partnering with local businesses, especially small businesses like East Dallas Middle Ground. We're trying to reach out to them. But if you know any local businesses, or even if you own a business, we would love to have a donation box there, and we can have volunteers pick it up, and we will do a donation food drop, and we will share that with families that are affected by SNAP. The zip code 75228, it just came out that about 9,998 families, or households actually, are affected by the SNAP of everything. Yeah, it's almost 10,000. So and that's like down the street from here. So Another thing I wanted to mention: some food banks ask for ID. Some families do not have IDs.
Yeah.
We need to feed everyone,
Yes,
not just
yes.
people who cannot get an ID. So it's just so this is why we're starting this, and we're gonna help expand food access to this. So we're gonna do food drops, but right now we are doing an open call for every bar, every bakery, every cafe, literally anyone.
Yes.
Yes, go anywhere. If you have a food pantry in your front yard, we can pick those up too and distribute them as well. So yes. Yes. And we have volunteers and everything ready to go, and we're reaching out to those of Whole Foods and everyone to donate their excess food as well. So yeah.
Dallas Public Library, I'm trying to get it past where we have it's not an ID, but they will put your photo on your library card, and they do not keep any of your personal information, your address, your phone number, none of that. All it has is your name, your picture, Dallas Public Library, and the great part about that is that the federal government nor the state can get any information from the library. That's all protected.
Oh, that's good.
And that is the enhanced library card, right? Yeah, that is the one.
And it's free.
Yeah, free. So definitely apply for that one, or acquire it really quick at the library. I know they closed one down the street, but we have another one right here that we could use. But yeah, that's pretty much it on this. Reach out to me on my socials as well too.
Thank you. Beth, Saturday, Sundays. Beth started the Saturday and Sunday Defend Democracy protests. Come out if you haven't yet. It's super fun. It's an hour and it feels really fucking good. Is all I can tell you. Like, it's great to get out, have some music. Yeah.
I want you to know that we're also collecting food.
We are. We've just started collecting food at the protests.
So if somebody else tell me.
Hey, Sam, put that in the newsletter. We need to put it in the newsletter about bring food to the thing. Okay, yeah, so come to those. Jill, what's happening on Saturday?
I know some people, I was talking to some people earlier, handing out the thing about the group scream that we're going to have. Because everybody I know or their TVs are probably tired of hearing them scream at it. So I think it would be so fun. At Solidarity Sunday last week, somebody mentioned that in Oak Cliff they're doing this. So I was like, I want to do this. So I contacted Joey and all the ops team. And I was like, okay, who's in for a group scream? And then they said they'd do it as long as we have a dance party afterwards. So here we go. So yay. I hope you guys can join us this Saturday. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. And it's actually very good for your mental health as well. We'll be doing it as a group. Then we're going to have a lot of music and dancing, but releasing this yell, and we might yell several times actually. It's really, really, really good for your body, and it will get your stress levels down. It'll help that waistline because cortisol, that's what causes that, and so it will reduce our cortisol levels. And then we can also build community because that's what it's about. And it's about finding our joy again and laughing and being silly, because we can't let them take that away from us. And that's the most important thing. We cannot give away our power. And that truly is our power. So
For sure.
so come scream with us on Saturday at 1:30. We can do the 10 o'clock training, do the 12 to 1 protest, and then come over here at 1:30 and scream and dance. So there we go. Yay.
Busy Saturday ahead, everyone. And then Jill, actually, this one's you too.
Okay, so you know what Julie talked about, what Kendall talked about, what the feds have been doing all along, which is precinct organizing. And I will be leading 2 organizing trainings, one on November 22nd, one on December 13th. It's all about the relational, talking to people, getting to know your neighbors, and getting those who we want to go out to vote to go vote. And I will train you on Van. If you're a precinct chair, I have a very simple list. They've all done the training now, and it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And but it's also, if you don't know Marshall Gans, he's a professor at Harvard. I kind of based some of this stuff around a book that he recently wrote, and it has to do with the story of me, the story of us, and the story of now. And that's the relational part that's going to really make a difference. So I can seat about 10 people at each of my trainings. So it's going to be on a first come, first serve basis. And then we might do a bigger training after the first of the year. But please sign up and come if you can. We'd like you to do that. Yes.
And that'll be a newsletter as well.
You want to?
We have whistle kits if you want to alert your community about ICE in your neighborhood. I totally forgot. These are really loud.
Yay! Awesome. They're awesome. Here we go.
Do that next.
Okay, I know we're running way over, so we're going to do candidates. We do candidates first, and I'm going to invite our first person. I'm going to have, you want to come up? Okay. Whoever is first in line, come on up, introduce yourself. We're going to have to keep it brief. Just tell us about you. We're glad you're here. Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate y'all being here. It's so important for us to get to meet you, and I'm sorry we're running late, but we're glad you're here.
Of course. Thank you so much. Hi, y'all. Good to see y'all again. My name is Maureen Alexander, and I'm running for Criminal District Court number 5. It's a felony court in Dallas County. I've been practicing for 25 years in criminal law, both as a prosecutor and the defense. And so I look forward to continuing to get to know all of you and earning your vote in March. Sorry. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Hudson. I hate going after Maureen because our resumes are very similar. I'm running for Criminal District Court number 1. It was Tina Clinton's bench until she won her seat on the Court of Appeals in the last election. There's currently a Republican appointee on the bench, so we can't have that. I've also been practicing for almost 27 years, criminal defense and a prosecutor, Dallas County and some in Collin County. My website is hudsonforjudge.com, and I hope to be able to earn your vote.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for waiting around to hear from us local elected officials. I am Judge Sandra Street. I am your judge of the 256th Family District Court. Family Court, custody, child support, divorces. I am seeking re-election to my 2nd term. I hope to continue to earn your vote and earn your support. And I'm not a stranger to the feds. I've loved your club for a long time. And I'll be seeing you all around in the streets. Thank you.
Thanks, Joey. Good evening. My name is Monique Bracy Huff. I'm your elected judge of County Criminal Court number 10, one of your family violence misdemeanor criminal courts. You guys helped me last election cycle to get me on the bench for my 1st term. I'm asking for your support for your 2nd term. If you want to know how you can support me, I'm still collecting signatures, so come see me, sign my petition. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you've got seats, go ahead and get them passed around now if you want.
Hi, friends. I'm Elizabeth Ginsburg, and I'm running for the 191st Civil District Court. I'm asking for your vote in the primary. Y'all, our courts are under attack. These races matter. I am running again for this bench because it is a court in crisis. And as Democrats, we have an obligation to do our research and make sure we're electing people who demonstrate good governance, because we can't win these higher races if we are not demonstrating when we do hold office, we get the job done. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tiffany Baker. I'm running for County Criminal Court number 1. It's a misdemeanor bench here in Dallas County. And I hope that I can earn your support and make sure that you guys are, as we've already heard tonight, it's very important that you guys vote in the primary so that we can get ready for the November election.
Yeah. Thank
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cheryl Williams. I am running for
Dallas County Court of Criminal Appeals number 2. I have spent the last 25 years as a municipal judge for the city of Dallas here in Class C misdemeanors, running a drug court and a community court. The Dallas County Court of Criminal Appeals number 2 hears A and B misdemeanors, and it's also the court that can hear appeals from justice of the peace courts and municipal courts. Before I got on the bench, I served as a defense attorney, and before that, I prosecuted white-collar crime. I would love your support, and thank you for signing my petition.
Hello, my name is Chelsea Hockett, formerly of Citizens Against Lance Gooden, which is where we fact-check MAGA propaganda frequently, organized protests against him, and just really advocated for our community the best that we could. I am a very pissed off mom, and I'm running for Congress in District 5. Oh, and also I have a petition if anybody's going to end up in District 5.
Hello, fellow democracy defenders. Thank you for offering us a safe place to land where we can meet with like minds and not have to be ashamed to be a Democrat and get out here and fight like hell. I am your sitting judge, Marilyn Mays, County Criminal Court number 1, running for re-election, asking you for your support. It's so important that we fight like hell and take our country back.
Good evening, feds. My name is Omar Narvaez, and I just recently came off the city council where I was your champion for our democratic values at City Hall. But our Justice of the Peace, Juan Hasso, is no longer going to run for election again after a 32-year career. And I want to be your champion for justice at the JP Court for our district. So that stretches from Pleasant Grove all the way through Buckner Terrace and most of East Dallas, cuts through Oak Lawn, and then it picks up Oak Cliff on the other side of 35 and goes all the way up to the City of Farmers Branch. So this is a huge district, and I am so proud of the fact that I've been endorsed by almost everybody that was up here earlier, with the exception of Kendall Scudder, because he can't endorse because he's our party chair, but all the other 2 have endorsed me already, because they know that I will be the person that will give fairness to every single person that walks into that court, and everybody will be treated with dignity and respect, just the way we did it at City Hall when I was there. Omar Narvaez, your candidate for Justice of Peace, Precinct 5, Place 2. Thank you.
Good evening, friends. How's everybody doing? Oh, come on. I know I'm last, but come on. This is the hardest part, right? Yeah, is getting in front of people and talking. So I'm not going to act like this is comfortable, because it certainly isn't. But my name is Lakeisha Smith, and I'm going to be running for CDC 5. That's a criminal district court, a felony court in Dallas County. And I've been a former prosecutor, just like some of these other candidates. I have been a public defender, and I've also been a legal advisor to the sheriff here in Dallas County. So all of my service has been here in Dallas County. I'm looking forward to serving you all. I'm looking forward to you guys asking me some hard questions about my experience. I've tried everything from DWI to capital murders, and I'm looking forward to serving you all as your next district court judge of number 5. Thank you.
Oh, yes, I think that's it. I think that's all of our candidates now. Holiday party, who's ready? Okay, we're super excited this year. We're going to be having it here, so it's going to be cozy, but we want a good turnout. Hope that you'll look forward to coming. We're going to look for sponsors. This year we added something new. We're having a Secret Santa level. It's a free party, but it's not a free party. So we really would like for you to be a Secret Santa at any level. Just give us some money and come and have a party with us. If you can be a sponsor, we need your money. This is our only big fundraiser that we have all year. The rest of the time, it's sustaining donors, which we love you, but we need more of them. So let's roll through it fast as we can. And then we have another new level. We're courting a club sponsor or 2, y'all. We don't know what we're gonna do yet, but it's gonna be fabulous. Maybe we'll go out to dinner. I don't know what we're gonna do. Okay. And who are we? Why should you care? Everybody's begging for money. We need your money. We are the feds. We have been around since 2007. Kendall was our first fed, 17, sorry. Kendall was our first fed. He was the very first fed. The reason that we got started was because we need to get candidates elected. Different people, like just like he's talking about, different people, grassroots. We're committed to getting out the Democratic vote. There's 4,600 of us, 100 precincts, and really we just started having fun, getting together, hanging out. Please join us. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on sign up for our newsletter. We have 2 Facebook pages. We have a front-facing page that's a public page. We're going to try and put all of our events and different things there. And then we've got a group. That's where we kind of chit-chat community, and we actually do more community building. Use our QR scans there. Our merch is also on our website. Yeah. Okay, bonfire. We got some fun, funky T-shirts. Here you go. And screw ice. A lot of these are fun. These are lots of fun. Lots of fun. We make money on them. They're not union stuff. We're out of almost all of our union stuff. We have a few things here for sale if you want to grab them. This is another way we make money. Bonfire.
And it's in our newsletter.
It's in our newsletter as well. What else?
Can I add that while there are 4,600 members, only about 3% are active. So if you know people who have signed up with us, get them involved.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is Kathleen still here?
I don't know if Kathleen left. She's still here. Oh, here.
I work with the, I know I'm short and last, so I work with a group we help find things for their apartments for the Afghani refugees. So we always are in need of things. So if you have anything from this list or other things, just contact me, and Angela worked with me on this also. So we set up apartments and we find everything from shoes to soccer balls to beds to sheets to pans to crock pots, anything that you have that you think they might need. We'll reach out. Okay. Thank you.
It's a great cause. And I don't know what else. I think that's it. Thank you guys. I hope y'all will think about coming on Thursday if you can. I was there last week at the Citizen Police Oversight review board, and there was maybe 20 people in the room, y'all. It was really discouraging. So we need to show up for our community and show up and be there. If you need any help, you've got to sign up by 5:00 on Wednesday if you want to speak. If you don't want to speak, that's fine. We just need people there to be visible and show support for our community. Thank you guys for being here. I'm so sorry we ran so long. Woo, what a great show. Thank you.
Did anyone else win? Anything? No, he's up pretty good. What did they call this?